everyone. 欢迎收看成长汉语. Thanks for tuning in to today's Growing Up with Chinese. We've got a great show lined up for you today. First, though, I have a question. Take a minute to think of all the ways we apologize in English. There's a lot, isn't there? I'm sorry, my fault. I apologize, excuse me, forgive me, my bad. The list goes on, which implies that we apologize a lot in English, don't we? Well, in China, there are a couple ways to communicate an apology. However, there aren't nearly as many forms of I'm sorry as there are in English. Interesting, isn't it? It's not that Chinese speakers don't feel remorse as much as English speakers. After all, we are all human beings. Now, I'll leave it as food for thought for now because we need to get into today's dialogue clip. Now, unfortunately, Xiaoming has a lot of apologizing to do today. Let's check out just exactly what's going on.
报告，
请进。
对不起，老师，我们迟到了。
怎么回事？为什么迟到？
路上堵车。
以后早点出来。好了，你们快回座位坐好。
对不起。真抱歉，都怪我不小心把你的书碰掉了。
没关系。小明，你小心一点嘛。
好了，同学们，请把书打开，翻到第30页，我来检查一下家庭作业。
哎呀，我把书忘家里了。
老师，对不起。
Poor Xiaoming. It really must just not be his day. He's late, he knocks his classmate's book off the table, and then he realizes he forgot his books at home. But really, as a result of his bad luck, we get to learn some phrases of apology, among other things. Let's take a look. 报告，请进。报告 is like saying reporting. All students in China will say this when they're late to class, and it's up to the teacher to decide what to do after that. Now, in this case, the teacher says, come in. 对不起，老师，我们迟到了。Sorry, we're late, teacher. 对不起, sorry, or I'm sorry. 迟到 means to be late. Now, broken apart, 迟 is late, and 到 is to arrive. So together, they constitute the act of being late, a late arrival. Now, note the le at the end of the sentence. You need it here because the action, being late, has already occurred. 对不起，老师，我们迟到了。
报告，
请进。
对不起，老师，我们迟到了。
真抱歉，都怪我不小心，把你的书碰掉了。I'm really sorry. It's all my fault for not being careful and knocking your books off. 真抱歉 I'm really sorry. 都怪我不小心 It's all my fault for not being careful. 都 is used here to imply totality or all. 怪 is to blame or fault. 不小心 means not careful. 把你的书碰掉了。碰掉 is to bump into and then fall. In other words, knock off. 书碰掉了. The books got knocked off. And we have a pattern here. 把 something plus verb. We'll be going over that very thoroughly in just a minute. 没关系，没事儿. It doesn't matter. It's nothing. Now, we've seen these guys used as a way to say you're welcome following thank you. 谢谢你，没关系，谢谢，没事儿。In today's context, they're used in reply to an apology.
怎么回事？为什么迟到？
路上堵车。
以后早点出来。好了，你们快回座位坐好。
对不起，真抱歉，都怪我不小心把你的书碰掉了。
没关系，没关系。
All right, everybody, let's take a look at today's vocabulary. So first we'll look at our specific vocabulary words, and then we'll move on to today's radical. Our first word is 迟到, to be late. 迟到. 以后, after, afterwards. Later, in the future. 以后. 真, really. 真. 没关系. It doesn't matter. It's nothing. That's all right. Never mind. 没关系. 碰, touch, knock, bump. 碰. 座位, seat, place. 座位. I can't believe that we haven't stumbled upon any Chinese idioms until now. Although, seeing as I am bringing it up, yes, we finally have the chance to talk about them. Idioms are called 成语 in Chinese, and there are hundreds. Now, most of them are made up of 4 characters, so we're not talking long phrases or sentences. However, lots have stories behind the idiom, and indeed, the saying makes a whole lot more sense once you know the story behind it. So today, we have a 成语 to introduce to all of you, and it is 负荆请罪. 负 means to carry. 荆 is birch. 请罪 means to admit one's error and ask for punishment. So the way this 成语 is translated is proffer a birch and ask for a flogging. Whoa. In other words, it's used to indicate a person who acknowledges his error to another and makes an apology. Now, there's a decent story behind this one. Shall I begin? During the Warring States period, there were 2 states constantly at odds with each other. The state of Zhao was relatively weak, but it had a minister named Lin Xiangru who was very wise and bold. The state of Qin was very powerful, and the Qin king was always finding ways to bully the Zhao king. One time, Lin Xiangru, the wise Zhao minister, engaged the Qin king in a heated battle of words, and he came out the victor, thus preventing the state of Zhao from suffering any losses. The king of Zhao was so pleased, he promoted Lin Xiangru to the highest ministerial post in the country. The state of Zhao had another talented minister, Lian Po, who happened to be a very successful retired general. He got quite bitter when he found out that Lin Xiangru had been promoted, because in his eyes, after all his victories and feats as general, he deserved the promotion more. And how can the ability to talk be more important and valued than the ability to protect one's country? So this guy was proud, and he had lost some serious face. He made public his thoughts on the matter, saying, "If I ever run into that Lin Xiangru, I'm going to teach him a serious lesson." And you know what? Lin Xiangru avoided contact with Lian Po at all costs. Nobody could figure out why, and Lin Xiangru's reputation suffered as a result. Everyone thought he was a coward and weak, but Lin Xiangru had his reasons. Between the state of Qin and the minister Lian Po, he feared Qin the most. He reasoned that if he were to engage in discord with Lian Po, Qin would view the state of Zhao as weak. Not even the ministers can get along, and potentially invade the country. So rather than risk that, Lin Xiangru avoided Lian Po. Now, when Lian Po heard about Lin Xiangru's reasons for avoiding him, he was instantly ashamed. He had put his personal issues before his country's. So in order to express his sincerest apology and regret for his actions, he took some birch branches and stripped off his shirt. He found Lin Xiangru, and kneeling before him, ready to be whipped, he admitted his selfish error and asked for forgiveness. Now, of course, Lin Xiangru instantly pulled him to his feet, and the two ministers became good friends after that. So, 负荆请罪 is used to describe someone who is willing to acknowledge his or her mistake and then apologize for it. All right, everyone. Now it's time to move into today's language points. And to begin with, we will be talking about 真, really. Just like really in English, 真 comes before an adjective or a verb phrase to indicate extreme. Now, we've talked about another similar word before, 很, very. The difference between the two is slight, both in English and Chinese. You can say 很抱歉, which is very sorry, or like in today's dialogue, 真抱歉, really sorry. So 真 is more really, and 很 is more very. 很好, very good. 真好, really good.
小明，这儿的景色真美啊！
是啊，兰兰，你别动，我给你拍张照片。天气真热啊，兰兰，咱们一起去游泳吧。
小明，不好意思，我一会儿有钢琴课。
怪, to blame or fault. This is a pretty straightforward verb, just like in English. 我不怪你, I don't blame you. I don't find you at fault. You use 过 with 怪 for past tense. 我没有怪过你. I've never blamed you. I never found you at fault. Today, Xiaoming says, 都怪我不小心. It's all my fault for not being careful. Let's look at some 怪 examples.
对不起，都怪我不小心。
没关系。
小明，你怎么才来啊？电影已经开始了。
对不起，兰兰，都怪我，我把时间记错了。
把 is used when the object is the receiver of the action of the ensuing verb. That's a long sentence, I know. Let's look at an example. 我把书忘家里了. I forgot my books at home. Okay, so the object is books. The verb or action is forgot. So the books are the receiver of the action, forgotten. 我把书忘家里了. Let's look at another example, a shorter one. 把门关上, close the door. 把 plus object, 门 plus action, 关上. The door is receiving the action of closing.
劳驾，您能把那个球拍递给我看看吗？
哪个球拍？
那个黑色的。
小明，你考得怎么样？
不怎么样。我把那道20分的大题写错了。
Wow, good job, everyone. I don't know about you guys, but my head is still reeling ever so slightly from explaining 把 and how it's used. Again, what we saw today, we will be seeing many more times, so don't get anxious just yet. You can always visit our website to review, and please send in your questions and comments to our feedback page. Any question is a good question, and the same goes for comments. See you all next time. Make sure to give yourselves a good break once I am done saying 加油! 再见.